welcome to Square and Cube Numbers with Cubit Education. In this mini lecture, you will know the difference between a square number and a cube number and find the answers to questions using them. You will also know the difference between a square root and a cube root and find the answers to questions using them. So, a square number occurs when we multiply a number by itself. These are your squared numbers. So let's say we did 1 times 1. That's just 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16, 5 times 5 is 25, 6 times 6 is 36, 7 times 7 is 49, 8 times 8 is 64, 9 times 9 is 81, 10 times 10 is 100, 11 times 11 is 121, and 12 times 12 is 144. Now, I would recommend that you learn all of these as well as which numbers you're multiplying by to get them. So you must remember that 9 times 9 makes 81 and so on. Learning the square numbers will really help you out. Now, I would suggest you learning all of the times tables by heart because it will help you with a lot of calculations in the non-calculator paper. However, if you don't have time to do that, at least learn the square numbers. It will make your life a lot easier. Now, a square root is the opposite of a square number. Okay, so let's say, for example, we had 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, which means 4 is our square number. The square root of 4 is 2. So 2 squared is 4. We can say 2 to the power of 2 is 4, or 2 squared is 4. The square root of 4 is 2, because it's the number that we used to get it. So we say the square root of 4 is 2. The square root sign is this, which is asking us what number do we multiply by itself to get 4. Well, 2 times 2 is 4, so the square root of 4 is 2. So it's just about what's opposite. So pause the video and have a go at some of these questions and see if you can work out the square roots of all of these numbers. Okay, if you've paused the video and had a go, let's go through them. So what do we times by itself to get 16? Well, 4 times 4 is 16. And 5 times 5 is 25. 7 times 7 makes 49. 12 times 12 is 144. 6 times 6 is 36. 8 times 8 is 64. 9 times 9 is 81. 10 times 10 is 100. And 11 times 11 is 121. So, learn your square numbers as well as your square roots, and it will really help you. So let's look at some cube numbers now. So, a cube number occurs when we multiply a number by itself 3 times. Okay, so we use the number 3 times. For example, 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Okay, so 2 times 2 is 4, and then 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27, and so on. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64, 5 times 5 times 5 is 125, 6 times 6 times 6 is 216, 7 times 7 times 7 is 343, 8 times 8 times 8 is 512, 9 times 9 times 9 is 729, and 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. Now, if you want to learn 11 times 11 times 11 and 12 times 12 times 12, you can, but it's very rare that that will come up on your exam, especially a non-calculator exam. So I suggest that you also learn these cube numbers as well as the numbers that make them. So these are your cube numbers. Make sure you learn them and it will really help you in your exam, especially up to 6 times 6 times 6 would probably be the most likely value that it would reach up to on a foundation paper. But you could learn the rest, it will really help you. And also you really do need to know 10 times 10 times 10. But 10 times 10 times 10 is easy because you've got 3 zeros here. 1, 2, 3. So it's just 1 with 3 zeros on the end. We say 2 to the power of 3 is 8, so we could say 2 to the power of 3 is 8, or 2 cubed is 8. So if we did this on a calculator, let's say we do 6 cubed. So we would type 6 in our calculator, and then we'd have to click this button here with the little square above the X, and that will give us a square on the calculator screen. We would then press 3 because we're doing 6 cubed, there's 3 of them, and 3 goes in there. And then if you press the equals sign, you would end up with 216. Okay, so that's one of the methods that you can use on your calculator. There will be a lesson on how to use a calculator as well, so don't fret if you're not sure on how to use a scientific calculator, but you will need one for your exam. So now let's look at a cube root, and I'm sure you already know now that a cube root is going to be the opposite of a cube number. So for example, we know that 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So we can say that 2 cubed is 8. So if we cube root something, we have to have this little 3 here to show that we are cube rooting. And the cube root of 8 is 2 because it's the opposite. It's the number that we times together 3 times to get 8. Okay, the cube root sign is the little 3 and the square root sign. So the square root sign on its own is just the square root, and then this sign with the 3 here is the cube root. And this is asking us what number do we multiply by itself 3 times to get 8. So 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, so the cube root of 8 is 2. So pause the video and have a go at these ones, see if you can remember them, or even use a calculator to work them out, especially the difficult ones. I suggest you should know this one, this one, this one, and this one off by heart, even this one here, off by heart, because these are the ones that you're going to have to use in your exam, and sometimes in the non-calculator one. Okay, so if you've paused the video and had a go, I've already shown you the answer to this one, unfortunately, but never mind. So the cube root of 27 is 3, because 3 times 3 times 3 makes 27. The cube root of 64 is 4. 4 times 4 times 4 makes 64. The cube root of 216 is 6. 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. 8 times 8 times 8 is 512. 7 times 7 times 7 is 343. 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. And 9 times 9 times 9 is 729. So again, I recommend that you learn those ready for your exams. It was a very short and sweet lecture, but I hope you understood it, and I hope you had a go at the questions in the lecture. There will be also a quiz at the end of your this section of videos, so please have a go at that, and thank you very much for using Cubit Education.